You know your trio of insiders, Darren, Dreger, Pierre, LeBrun, and Bob McKenzie. Canucks fans are excited. They got to watch Elias Pettersson shine all season long, and that just makes them hungrier to watch their next prospect, and that would be defenseman Quinn Hughes. Had the foot injury at the end of his collegiate season, Bob. How much will he get to play in Vancouver this season?
We'll probably know better in the next 48 hours. Obviously, Vancouver Canuck fans are really excited about Hughes. Dynamic offensive defenseman, want to get him in the lineup as soon as possible. But he did block that shot. Over the next 48 hours, he is going to get another CT scan, see where they're at. And they do expect that he will play games this year. They just don't know how many. But not expected to play Wednesday. That would give him 8 possible games after Wednesday that he could play in. I guess on the bright side, he can't play 11 or more games, and that would make him eligible for the Seattle expansion draft. And he can't play 10 or more games, which would give him salary arb rights and the ability to get offer sheets when his entry-level contract expires. So it might be the perfect situation to bring him in, play him 8 or less games, have a look at him, and protect the club's best interest by not having to protect them or have salary arbitration rights.
6'6" prospects turn heads. 6'6" prospects who score 61 goals get scouts salivating. So all eyes on North Bay?
No question about that. And a young guy, 21-year-old by the name of Justin Brazeau. You're right, he scored 61 goals in 68 OHL regular season games this year. He's undrafted, so he is drawing NHL attention. At least 5 to 7 teams in the mix. The Toronto Maple Leafs have expressed some interest. Boston, Nashville, St. Louis, Vegas, Columbus. They're all intrigued by him. Now, in a perfect world, one of these teams would get him signed to an American League contract. But when you've got those numbers and you're going into the playoffs, then obviously he is looking for an NHL deal. So there'll be 5 to 7 teams at Thursday's game when they open the playoffs against Niagara.
Tampa Bay Lightning clinching the President's Trophy already. When you've done that, you have nothing left to play for, and there's still 3 weeks left in the season. How do they handle that?
Well, they don't want to get out of rhythm, and so you start with the goalie, Andrei Vasilevskiy. It was in March a year ago, you may remember, he was quoted saying that he was tired. It was an interesting quote. Well, that's not the case this year. He's certainly more used to being a number one goalie in his second full year as a starter. And he missed 5 weeks earlier this season, which gave him that rest. And so they're not worried about his rest. And in fact, the priority for John Cooper is to make sure that Vasilevskiy stays sharp down the stretch. Yes, Louis Domingue will play, but they want to keep their number one goalie sharp. And overall, as a team, you know, the Lightning finish in Montreal and Boston and Toronto. Maybe some rest, but it depends on the playoff races involving those teams.
All right, some quick one-timers from all three of you guys. First, NCAA signing season. We've had that, but CIS has some top-quality hockey players, and we might see one of them on the Calgary Flames down the road?
Yeah, that's correct. Luke Philp from the University of Alberta Golden Bears. He was the U Sports Player of the Year in university hockey. 2-year entry-level deal with the Calgary Flames. Now, it was a tough weekend for the Golden Bears and Philp. Philp suffered a high ankle sprain in the University Cup weekend. The Golden Bears did not win the championship. But nevertheless, the Calgary Flames like what he can bring. A 23-year-old who played for Kootenay and Red Deer in the WHL. His entry-level contract kicks in next year.
NHL officiating department is also looking at U Sport and to some degree the NCAA, both male and female potential officials. Now they're looking at seniors, but they've got an exposure combine which comes up in August in Buffalo, and obviously they'd like to add a female on-ice official, and they've got their application process open for the next couple of weeks at the National Hockey League level. And I'm told, although they don't have a specific number of women that have applied, they've got more than ever. So it looks good and, in fact, imminent that an NHL official will be a woman on ice at some point soon.
It was a year ago this month that the Carolina Hurricanes removed Ron Francis as GM. That led to a 2-month search and a bunch of interviews for a GM. And then they named Don Waddell GM from in-house. And it was never meant to be a long-term appointment. But he's still GM, and the question is for how long. You know that he's the team president. He has a lot of functions for that organization. He's a busy guy. Tom Dunn, the owner, told me today at the end of the season, he will sit down with Don Waddell. They'll discuss the future and figure out what's right at the GM position and beyond.
Whether it's him or the next guy, they have to approve of nutty post-game celebrations on Insider Training.